Delanco Township Committee meeting of October 2nd, 2023, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Delanco Township Municipal Building, 770 Coopertown Road, Delanco, New Jersey.
Recording, Janice?
We are recording, Mayor.
Oh, okay, good. All right. So, I'd like to welcome you to the October 2, 2003 Township Committee meeting. Can I have a roll call, please, Janice?
Mr. Bartlett.
Here.
Mr. Alette.
Here.
Ms. Seuss. Here. Mr. Templeton.
Here.
Mrs. Patrick.
Here. Also present, Mr. Schwab, our Township Administrator, Mr. Fox, our Township Engineer, Mr. Raymond, our Township Solicitor, Mrs. Lohr, our Municipal Clerk, Mrs. Russell, our Deputy Municipal Clerk, Mr. Fenimore, our Superintendent of Public Works. And that's it. Please join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Janice, please read the sunshine statement.
Please be advised that proper notice of this meeting has been given in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act in the following manner. Written notice has been mailed to the Burlington County Times and Courier Post and published in the January 4th, 2023 editions. And written notice has been posted on the official bulletin board of the Township of Delanco at least 48 hours prior to the meeting.
Thank you, Janice. The first item on the agenda is ordinance 2023-16, which is an ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled An Ordinance of the Township of Delanco providing for and determining the rate of compensation of officers and employees to amend the current year rates for CWA covered members of the Delanco Public Works Department. This is the second reading by title only and public hearing. So the hearing is now open to the public for ordinance 2023-16. Okay, there being no comments from the public, I'll close this portion of the meeting to the public and ask for a motion to approve ordinance 2023-16 on second reading.
So moved.
Bernard Matt, second. Matt Bartlett. Roll call, please.
Mr.
Janice?
Bartlett.
Yes.
Mr. Alette.
Yes.
Ms. Seuss. Yes. Mr. Templeton.
Yes.
Mrs. Patrick.
Yes. Okay, the meeting is now open to public for comments and questions. This is session 1. No comments or questions, session 1. Okay. I'll close this portion of the meeting to the public and we'll move on to reports. So, professionals. So, Steve, do you have anything to report on behalf of Doug?
I do not tonight, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I guess that's you, Harry, you're up.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. There's quite a few items tonight. The 2023 road program, which is the local money as well as the DOT money, those bids were received, and Earl Paving was the low bidder. That's on the agenda for tonight for approval of awarding that. The price came in about $25,000 less than our estimate. So it was a good price that we received and recommend going forward with that.
We have good experience with Eagle. Where you at?
I haven't worked with them in years. However, they do a lot of work with Chris, actually, in Medford. And they also do county work. They do a lot of county work. They actually just bought out American Asphalt, which is a contractor, it's a pretty large contractor that we've been doing for a lot of years. That's going to be official in January. So that's not going to actually help us with future bids because it's taking another competitor out of the mix, but you know, it's what's happening.
So Harry, that's for 3rd Street, Walnut and Willow?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
And Fenimore.
Or Fenimore.
And Fenimore.
The Hickory Street pipe cleaning and roof cutting, we received bids for that. The low, well, we received quotes. The low quote was from the local judging, the same people that had been doing most of our work. on these pipes in the past. However, to get that size root cutter down into the pipe, the manholes that are out there are very old, and the existing pipes that come into them are sticking in too far. They can't get the equipment down into the inlet and make the turn to go down and cut the roots. So we're gonna have to get a price from another contractor to cut those pipes off flush before they can come in and do their root cutting.
So the pipes that stick out, that have been inside of the manhole, raised straight on down, they got pipes that are sticking out. And so they can't get their equipment down there, and they have to cut the pipes off.
So,
Tyra's got a picture of it.
so does that affect the process at all, or does that affect the
Well, they can't
drainage?
get their equipment down in there.
Right, in order to get the equipment, but why isn't it
No.
flush? I mean, it's okay to have it flush, it should be flush.
Typically it would be flush, but these are like the old brick manholes.
Okay.
They have different kinds of pipes coming in different directions, and they're sticking out further than normal.
Right.
So it's relatively simple to cut the pipe off flush.
Yeah.
To give them the room to get their equipment down in there.
Okay,
So we are going to get a couple prices for that, and we got John and Richard. It shouldn't be much, so they could probably approve that administratively, and then we can move on to the next process. The Zubuk seawall. As you know, we submitted the plans to Army Corps and DEP with the new alignment. We did receive an email from Army Corps stating that they will give us a letter that we're out of jurisdiction and there's no approval needed for that, for the seawall. The boat ramp will need their approval, but the seawall itself, they're going to be writing us a letter indicating we don't need their approval. We also heard back from endangered species. The new alignment addresses the mussels issue, so that's not an issue anymore. Not that I think we could have got around that, but now it's much easier with the new location. So that they've indicated that's not an issue any longer. And the DEP themselves, the project manager, likes the plan and feels pretty confident about it moving forward. But they won't give us any written comments or any official comments until we make an official submission, which we're in the process of doing right now. The town hall parking lot and the Field of Dreams access road. A few months ago, you passed an ordinance, capital project to do the front parking lot of the town hall. And it's going to be mill and overlay and fixing the potholes prior to the overlay. And also paving the Field of Dreams dirt road portion from the stop sign of the sidewalk crosses to just on the other side of the concession stand. If we get good prices, we can go further, but that's what the money we have, essentially, that's what we're looking to pay for this time.
okay.
Harry, didn't we talk about using it under this contract, that $25,000 savings road program for Iowa? Is this where you were talking about doing it?
Well, yeah, actually, yes. The kind of all kind of going to, when I get done, I'm going to put them all together and give you a little synopsis of what the plan would be.
Okay.
I can do that now. So what we're going to, we feel is a good idea, is that we can do our paving project, which is the town hall, the Field of Dreams, and Iowa, under a paving contract. There'll be no concrete work to do, and we should go get much better places for those streets added together and scrap as one contract. With that, we can always, well, I'll get to that next. But so that would be the one contract going out just for paving. We already have the road program out. We really can't do Iowa as a change order because after looking at the bids, if we did that, the second bidder is really close to being low bid. So they would have a complaint if we did a change order increasing quantities, they would have won the bid.
Right.
So I don't want to really get into that. I think we're better off just staying away from any kind of change orders on that. So we can put that together with this paving, the parking lot, and 2 other trees. Along with that, if we want, we can, I met with, this jumps over to the Babe Ruth field. I met with Steve Lennon and John out at Babe Ruth field. If you recall, we received the recreation grant
Right.
for that, and part of that was to put a path from the parking lot to the bleachers at the field for handicap accessibility. Steve Lennon from the Taylor Group is really kind of pushing for concrete. We're kind of leaning towards asphalt at this point. We did relocate where we want to put it, and we're on agreement on that. Rather than going on the Cooper Street side of the tennis courts, the basketball courts, we're going to go on the other side. So it'll come, the parking will be on the left-hand side of the parking area. And the trail will go along the opposite side of Cooper Street of the
Where the
basketball
trees
court.
are at.
Where the trees are, pine
Go
trees are
underneath
at.
of the trees, the pine trees,
Oh, okay,
and
so
out that way,
so it won't,
because.
well, will they still go to the bleachers over?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's actually the most direct way. Doing it the other way, you're gonna have a little
Yes,
zigzag.
zigzag, yeah.
And then what we realized, all the water from the basketball court comes off there. And we had to fill it all in, and it would be
So-
more of a problem.
So it won't hurt your equipment if you have to drive your equipment over or anything? It's not gonna ruin, because I thought you had an issue with
No.
driving your equipment over before.
No, there'll be
Okay.
no problem. It'll be flush to the ground.
Yeah, John's worried about the concrete riding equipment over.
Oh, okay.
If we, and I did just some rough numbers, and we still have time to discuss this. It doesn't have to be done right away, we have time on it, but if we do an asphalt path, it's about a little more than half the price of concrete. So you'll be saving money. We're kind of leaning towards, our opinion, it looks more like a park setting with asphalt as opposed to a concrete walkway. And with asphalt, we can make it wider, we can make it a 5 or 6 foot wide path.
Right.
The sidewalk is designed to 4 feet.
And it will be still accessible for handicap use, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I thought initially their conceptual plan had a pathway. I didn't think it was concrete.
It was,
It was concrete?
the last plan I saw was concrete.
Okay.
And I say, I don't want to, Steve did the planning end of it. and
Right.
He's,
We just kind of like moved it over from one side to the other. That includes the bathroom too.
If it makes sense, yeah.
so what, I think would be a smart idea is I can make the asphalt path an alternate to one of these paving projects. We can see the price, if the price comes in good and we like it, we can award it, if not, we don't award the alternate. That way we have a choice and a good number to work with.
Yeah, because that grant, we didn't get enough money to do everything we needed to do. So we
You're not
were gonna
even
have to
close.
add money anyway.
Yes, you're not even gonna be close with
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
money. Yes.
Okay.
So what I would suggest is we have 2 ways of handling that. We can ask our road contractor for a price for it and do a change order to do that part. If he gives a good price, we can go with that. If not, we can add it as an alternate to our paving project out front, give our prices and decide if we want to do it at that time.
That makes sense.
It's, design-wise, it's not any different designing it for concrete or asphalt. So we can get the design ready to go, and it's just a matter of what material we want to end up using.
I mean, if asphalt's half the cost, why wouldn't we do asphalt?
It's aesthetics.
Yeah.
It's all
I mean,
aesthetics.
all the park paths in the county are black.
They're all,
I-
it makes sense.
I would rather do asphalt, so it's hard for me to argue for Steve's point. but
Yeah.
Steve is pretty
I guess-
adamant about,
He was trying to put a sidewalk right along the roadway, right? Yeah, I think that's what he was trying to do, but, I mean, as long as it's handicap accessible, and it's much better than what we have because we don't have anything.
oh, yes.
Yeah, so.
Now, the only issue that would be a concern, I believe, from the council's or committee's standpoint, is the bathroom, the portable bathroom would now be not behind the sewer pump station.
It would be at the other
It would be
end?
the other side. Now, that's gonna be closed with a board-on-board fence and landscaping on 3 sides, so.
It's just an enclosure for
It's just the enclosure for.
Mr. Bob or something,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Exactly.
It still will have a better look to it.
It will, and
It's a little more
that
private.
location, there's not a house, the house, there's a yard, woods across the street.
Right.
There's no house there, so we're all in agreement, at least on that that's the route to take.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you have to use common sense, right? Right, John?
What about the basketball courts? Do we have any quotes on that? We're doing vendors or?
Yeah, Carolyn, they got one quote of $75,000 so
Yeah.
far. State contract quote, and the estimate for the grant was 41,000, so we have to look at that very carefully, decide. Clearly, it's like with the well, we end up, yeah, if we get 78,000, but instead of an $88,000 project, it may be a $120,000 project.
I thought we got 78, we didn't get 78,000?
We got 78,000, but the grand total of the project is 88,000, but that's assuming that the basketball court resurfacing is only 41,000. But it's gonna be 74 or more. For 74, that's the basic job, so it's gonna cost more to do that piece of it. It's just that the timing right now is when we could get the best deal on the path.
Right.
If rec and
Yeah,
everybody, if everybody's in agreement to it, Harry's just saying we're gonna be going out to bids, we'll get unit prices, then we'll get everybody's approval for what to do. It's gotta go to rec, it's gotta, go through everybody. But right now, he's putting together this spec to go to bids for this asphalt work. And we wanna get that out and ready to go so that maybe it even might, if the weather's good, be done this year.
Right.
So you'll see that coming in next month.
Because they can't do asphalt under a certain temperature.
Correct. If the weather's not good and so on, then the job gets postponed to the spring.
And the bid is still good?
Bid is still good, correct.
Great.
So we just, so we're putting that together.
Yeah.
So it'll be ready to go out to bids, and so at your second meeting in November, hopefully we'll have bids in for that and for the CDBG curb cut work.
Phil, do you have any comments on that change for?
Yeah, we'll bring it
Sounds
direct.
good, right?
We'll
Yeah.
bring it direct. It was just an idea we had last week so your meeting is now to tell you, it's mostly about the bidding issue, but they'll have to say whether it's okay with them.
Yeah, okay, good.
So Harry, just so a clarification in my mind, the fence is going down along Coopertown Road, right? So we're on the inside where the field is versus the street side of the fence.
Correct.
Okay,
And we're between the pine trees and the fence.
and the fence.
Yeah.
Got it,
That's good.
okay. Thank you for that clarification.
We'll do a drawing and get it out to everybody.
The other side. Yeah.
That's the roots.
On, yeah, where we're putting it, where we just discussed putting it, there are roots from pine trees there.
Not the pine trees, they're down on Hickory Street.
Hickory Street.
The first
yeah.
block.
Oh, yeah, I'll get to that, yes, that's,
That'll be a separate discussion, John. That's not
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
great.
because the pine trees are all the way down the end.
Yeah, we'll talk about the other
I'm
thing
not worried
later.
about the pine trees.
okay.
There's pine cones down there.
Yeah, there is. And what John was alluding to was, and Ray actually brought it up, this has to do with Hickory Street root cutting. There are 5 or 6 trees along Hickory Street at the school field that is causing a major problem with the roots. One is 95% clogged with roots. And that's the closest tree to Union, is the dead one. So we really need to start a discussion on what to do with those trees, whether we take those trees out, replace them with other trees, either on the outside sidewalk or a more suitable tree, or leave them there and they'll be maintenance, the roots are going to come back.
Right, they're in it.
There's no way to stop them. You can't put chemicals in there because it runs right to the trees. We could line it, but that's lining a pipe that size costs more than replacing a pipe.
Right.
So that, replacing that pipe, the trees, at least some of them should.
So are they at the corner of Union and Hickory, all the way down the
There's
end?
one there, it's a flowering pear, humongous, and it's got two wicked trunks.
Right.
And I don't know how they haven't blown over yet.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's the main one. That's right there at Union. That's the first one. And then there's a couple other up the street that are bad.
How deep is the pipe that the roots are in?
It's about, I'm gonna say it's about 3.5 feet to the top of the pipe.
Yeah, they shouldn't have been planting trees on top of those pipes.
They're
on the
relatively
pipe.
far away from the pipe.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
find.
they are.
Big roots.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pipe's in the middle of the street, it just found its way to the,
Yeah, they do though. They
got
do.
no place else to go.
They're pretty deep there. That's deep.
But the pipe's only 3.5 feet deep,
The top, yeah.
to the top of the pipe.
Yeah, it's a 30-inch pipe.
Harry, which tree are we talking about? You said Union and Hickory, which corner?
It's all the trees basically that line the school field.
From Walnut,
Okay.
from Walnut to Union.
Gotcha.
Right, well,
There's only
a whole lot.
trees on that one side.
Right,
And there's like,
because they don't have any trees.
there's actually, there's like 5 trees.
Yeah, it's 5 trees.
Yeah. And some are worse than others.
2 of them are bigger trees.
Yeah.
And
So that's some preliminary discussions.
They're just trees.
Just
on
bring it
one
to your
side,
attention,
right?
we're gonna start
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah,
it.
they're on any, yeah.
There, and the other side, you have a couple trees at the corner by like Deere's house.
Right,
Those look smaller.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's, like, again, there's no major rush. That's something that we have to start discussion on.
Yeah, so do we need to go to Shade Tree to do that, or,
Again, I think that's going to be a discussion that,
Sure. Yeah, we'll have to have discussion with Shade Tree, that's correct.
yeah, okay. All right,
Nothing immediate.
Field of Dreams well, public service did do the hookup and, put the meter in, so we are energized. I'm getting the contractors together, hopefully we'll be out there this week to do the final turn on. Their electrician now has to make their final connection. And then also with TLC, they're basically installing the timer and connection to our system.
oh, good.
So we're gonna all meet out there and get it up and running, just any kinks and whatnot that might happen. Once we're satisfied, that schedule meeting for, Rec, John, anyone else in the committee, anyone that wants to be there, and we'll give a rundown of the system, how it works, how to maintain it, and answer any questions that people may have.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'll be sending out a notice for our group to, next couple of weeks, like on a Wednesday afternoon or
Yeah,
Thursday afternoon at 3, whatever feels available.
okay,
John and I,
good.
right?
Finally.
Yeah, it's gonna make a big drive. I did a little analysis on what's out there now, and what's gonna happen when we get it all done, and it's gonna be a tremendous improvement on the
Yeah,
irrigation
really.
system, among some other work that has to be done by TLC. The 2023 CDBG grant, that's the handicap grant project.
Right,
After discussion and mulling all this out with John and Richard, we think it's best just to do that contract on something. Rather than try and, they have a new system there and it's not worth adding anything to that, especially if we're not gonna do the concrete trail over if they with asphalt.
Right.
Then we're just gonna go out with this bid on its own. And we'll anticipate awarding at the November meeting.
Good.
November 13th meeting.
yeah, I'm glad you're doing West Avenue and Goucher and Colgate.
Yes, that's what's on our list. We're also going to, for the paving project, we're anticipating awarding that on the same night, on the 13th.
Harry, what's the Coopertown Road sidewalk plan?
That is a master plan, that we started years ago, getting from the train station to basically the end of town, on Town Road. since we started that, there's been a lot of additions actually, because Dolan came in and other
Right.
things.
Right.
But that's kind of a
That's kind of it, in limbo.
fluctuating limbo kind of project that,
There are funds being set aside for that if we ever gain access to those properties along there for the one stretch. There are funds being set aside for that.
there is.
D.R. Horton, I believe, has to, because it was originally Hovnanian, but there are supposed to be
Yep.
funds set aside for that.
Yep, there is, that's part of the agreement with D.R. Horton. How it was negotiated was that if the township got acquired right away, they had to put a sidewalk in.
Right.
The township couldn't get it right away, for various reasons. So now we're going to ask for money in lieu of that
In lieu
sidewalk.
of that, right, in case something happens down the road where we can put the sidewalk in,
Yep.
we're gonna do it.
Or we could put sidewalk on the other side.
On the other side.
Preliminarily, we had a plan, straight sidewalk coming down the other side as well.
Right.
So it's kind of fluctuating connector.
Thanks. Good.
The last thing I have, is the MS4 stormwater, system map. We being the town, received a grant for $25,000 from DEP. And what that is, DEP basically gave every town $25,000 to pay for the required stormwater system map. And what that map is, that every inlet and every structure has to be located by GPS coordinates. There has to be the size of the pipe, the flows of the pipe, essentially a complete detailed map of the entire drainage system in the entire town. Every town has to do that. It's not due until next year. But what the state decided to do was kick out this money to get people to do it. We
So
applied.
how much is it gonna cost? Because when I read it, it looks like they'll give you 15,000 up front and then 10,000.
That's, yeah, how it
After.
works is they give you 15,000 up front. Once the plan is done, submitted to them and approved by them, they'll give you the balance of the 10,000.
So how much does the plan cost? 15,000?
No, we're looking at it and we're doing it for all adjoining towns here. And towns this size, we're getting it done for 25,000. So we would not exceed the grant amount.
Okay. So it's
just something we're
So
doing.
it's
as
a wash? Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So we have to budget it?
You're gonna probably do chapter 159, when the money comes in, we'll have to amend the budget to show it coming in, and then the other side under engineering, so when he sends us a bill, we pay it out of the grant rather than pay it out of general engineering.
Okay, good.
So if you, because sometimes, some
Also
towns,
outside, yeah.
well, some of the larger towns are taking that money and buying equipment for public works to do this map. Their own GPS equipment and.
Right, well,
things
yeah,
like
they
that.
have, yeah.
But they have a lot more resources.
Yeah, they do. John's got enough to worry about.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is actually, so if you'd like, Mayor, I can submit a proposal for us to do that work for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should do that, right,
Yeah,
Richard?
Harry was not part of your original proposal?
I thought it,
I thought it was part of what we already
Because
approved,
I
but
have that file
let's take a
with
look,
me.
we'll look at that, all right?
I have it with me, I think. I brought it. I think I brought it.
I think we can.
I don't recall, to be honest with you. I might have put that
It
in.
was
You're
in
correct.
March, we okayed it April 3rd. Preparation of the 2023 MS4 permit. Preparation of the new stormwater pollution prevention plan. Yeah, you submitted that for a total of,
I don't think that includes the map, but.
Yeah.
oh, it
did it
doesn't
include the
include the map, let me see, miscellaneous, storm drains, stream scouring, roadside erosion, stormwater basin inspection. No, it doesn't include the map. And this was 9,500.
Right, that was just basically to get your MS4 permit up to
Okay,
date.
all right, so we do need an estimate for the map.
Right, because there's going to be more things that are going to be required under the new regs, that John's going to have to do and, you know.
Okay,
But yes, I didn't think I had it in there, but
okay, I brought it with me because I got the letter.
yeah, I'm glad you had that.
We're not gonna get it all for $9,500?
Yeah.
You can't
I'll leave
persuade
my
you, huh?
cow. So that's all I have, Mayor. That's all I
Oh,
have.
okay. That's good, Harry, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Harry? Okay, Richard?
Okay. Let's see. Okay, couple things. One, saw the 2024 budget notice went out, so that season is starting. Also want to let you know, if you remember at the last meeting I talked about, we were soliciting bids for the work in the police department for opening up the ceiling to allow the HVAC equipment to come in and closing up the exit from the new detention area. The low bid was from D.H. Williams of Morristown, $16,000. We're meeting with them this week with the architect, make sure there's no misunderstanding what needs to be done. Assuming that's the case, you'll see a resolution at your next meeting to make that award and get that work done. You also, again, sent out the information, the audit report. You received it. There's no comments, so we don't need a corrective action plan for the next meeting. There'll be a resolution where you're going to say, yeah, I looked at that page, which is blank, which says there's no findings, as it were. But if you have any questions, we have some hard copies if anyone wants to look at them. We have the copies that'll be on the website, and it's available to you, and there'll be a summary published in the paper. And also, I got from our assessor just before the weekend, so I didn't get a chance to forward it on to you, information on added and omitted assessments, which was very exciting to look at because, let's see where did I put it, the buildings, here it is, when we have these buildings that they get assessed when they get their CO, their certificate of occupancy, and if that's not done prior to the normal billing cycle, it becomes an added assessment. So it looks like the 3 new warehouse structures will bring in a little over $260,000 for the 2023 year. That's not 2024, but an added assessment that's unbudgeted. And there's about $50,000 worth of added and omitted assessments for just any other residential improvements in the community. So there's $311,000 that's being billed that's over and above what was budgeted, and you get a certain percentage of that by the end of the year. That'll go into your fund balance that you'll be available to discuss when we budget the 2024 year. And then in addition, of course, those increased assessments will be part of the 2024 total assessed value, which will be the denominator, and will help with the tax rate. Doesn't bring in more money, it just helps with it. It spreads it out amongst more people.
Right.
So
that's just the added assessment from the date that they received a CO?
Correct.
So that's not what
That's not the total year,
the
no.
total year yet?
Correct.
We don't know the total year yet?
No, I don't have that. You know, I get a little bit of stuff, but
Okay.
I don't have the total year number. No, he just gave us, this is just the added assessment.
Okay,
So-
that'll be nice.
When, you know, we'll have the total year stuff in January when he files.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That'll be nice, good.
But you might want to know that. That's all I have.
Oh, thank you, Richard. Department heads. Our chief couldn't be here tonight, so Matt has agreed to read his report.
All right, for the month of September, 40 cases, 40 motor vehicle violations, 843 calls for service, 71 motor vehicle stops, 12 OPA requests, 4 accidents, 4 adult arrests, 3 contempt or fugitive, 3 harassments, 1 simple assault, 2 criminal mischief, 19 thefts, 10 burglaries, 3 trespasses, 1 other criminal and 12 other non-criminal, and 5 firearms permits.
What was the 19 up from what was August?
19 was, those thefts, in September there was 19, in August, 3.
Yeah, is
That
that
has
the
to be-
car? Do you think that's the cars?
I think that would have to be the cars.
Yeah, so remember to lock your cars.
Yeah.
Everybody should lock their cars. People aren't locking their cars.
It's noted here, the police academy graduation was the 28th. Officers Gallagher and Rusner, they began their field training officer program as of today, and that lasts 12 weeks, I believe. You'll be seeing them on the road. As Kate just mentioned, increase in motor vehicle burglaries and thefts along, not just Delanco, along all jurisdictions, along the waterfront. The police departments are working together to investigate. Delanco Police Department reminds everyone to lock their vehicles and residential doors to avoid these crimes. There was a discussion at the Burlington County Police Chiefs Association meeting for reestablishing a Burlington County Police Academy course over the next couple of years. Right now they go to Atlantic or Gloucester or other academies.
Mercer,
We have Chris Orff is on track to begin the Atlantic County Police Academy on October 30th. And we've also reserved one spot in the February 24 Gloucester County Police Academy class. Detective Lepek has completed his week-long crisis intervention training on September 29th. The police department participated in a multi-agency incident response training at Carvana. That was the previous Saturday. I was out with the fire company. It was actually interesting to do the walkthrough and see how their facility operates. It's kind of amazing what they have going on there. But it's a good walkthrough of the police department, fire, the neighboring fire departments and police departments as well. And he's noted he's preparing his budget for 2024.
Good.
That's all that's fit to report.
Thank you. John?
Yes. We picked up 60 cubic yards of brush, that's chipped up brush, and was our final pickup for the year. We removed 3 stumps that have been on the list. We finally got to that they're one in Newton's Landing, that's done. The problem with that is it had a sprinkler head right next to the stump. So we were very careful. I knew there was a reason why.
I know.
That.
She was so grateful. Did you get my email? She was very thankful. Thank you, John.
So we got that done for her. We put up 2 street signs. Kenny has been working to get Pete's signs up down there, and we came into a little problem. There was an asphalt road underneath it at all corners of the property. There was a roadbed.
Oh, wow.
So, it was okay because he was able to dig the hole and pour the footings for the sign poles. So the sign poles should be up. We still have the one to put up at the camp meeting ground, and he plans on doing that tomorrow. And I think, but then when we get the cement done, Harry's going to get one of the contractors to give us a price on doing that, or even I'll get a couple prices from other people and see what the prices are. And if it's something reasonable, then just get it done and be over with it. We finally got our compost site cleaned. From start to finish, it takes about 3 weeks, 3 long weeks. 2 loaders up there, moving from one side of the compost to getting to where the screening machine is at. We screened roughly about 8,000 cubic yards of compost. Now we have that against the wall out of the way, and I'm waiting for the farmer. He wants it, but he's got to cut the field first before we're able to take it to him. And once that gets done, then that's the biggest headache that we have. And it's been nice to have a couple extra guys helping out. What a difference. We've gotten some things done that I don't know what I was going to do, but moving along, the one guy, unfortunately, the guy that knows the most about chainsaws, found a better job for like double what he's getting paid here, so he will be leaving, but we still have the 2 young kids, and they're so far working out. One guy started today, and hopefully he'll get a taste of leaf season very shortly. By the way, we did go out and pick up leaves. We picked a box of leaves up on Willow Street, all around there, so to stop it from flooding out. And we did a couple other spots around town. and that's all I have.
I saw one of the young fellas doing some storm drains.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Thank you, John. Anybody have any questions for John? Okay. Janice?
Yes, first I'll start off with some upcoming events. I encourage everyone to go to the township website, delancotownship.com. The fall is just jam-packed with a lot of things going on. This coming Saturday, October 7th, we have the Public Works Cleanup Day from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and chance for residents to bring there are things that otherwise would not be available for pickup at the curb. We also have on the 7th shredding for township residents, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's here in this parking lot at the municipal building. The Public Works Cleanup Day is through the Public Works Department next door. Then the following weekend, we have the 14th of October is Community Day at the firehouse. And there'll be a lot of tables there with different community events and organizations. And then we have a New Jersey American Water Company has sent us a notice that they're going to be doing some flushing of the hydrants starting today through the 14th. So just watch your water, careful with your light colored clothes in your washer. Let's see, we have a rabies clinic, free rabies clinic on Saturday, November 4th from 9 a.m. to 11. And it is a drive-through, a very successful drive-through. We have pre-registration forms on the website, which helps with that. If you fill that out in advance, helps move the drive-through clinic along much more smoother. Let's see, Recreations has a lot of really great programs coming up for the Halloween season. Also more information on the website. These are more towards the end of the month. I think you're having a best decorated house for Halloween and movie night and trunk or treat. Yeah, a lot of good stuff available, information available on the website. Environmental Advisory Board is doing a native plants workshop and seminar on October 24th at 6:30 p.m. at the library. Native plants are really cool to learn about and how to use in your home garden areas. We have what else did I? A lot of stuff. We have our new administration office employee start today, Ellen. Her first day on the job today, and so she will be our new permanent part-time position for the front office. And last but not least, I think I got everything. Community Development Block Grant is requiring something new for participating agencies that receive these funds from community development. It's called a spotlight presentation. So our date that we were given, that we have to do a 10-minute spotlight presentation on our project, is December 14th. So I'll be talking with Harry about how we're going to be doing that. I don't know how you do 10 minutes on handicap curbs, to be honest, but we'll think of something. And also, too, I want to find out the next round. We're allowed to apply every year now, so the next round of applications should be announced because that deadline should be coming up fairly shortly. So that's all I have, except that. Do you have anything else?
I think you covered just about everything but the 5K.
Oh, the 5K.
Great. October 28th.
October 28th, which I think is that Saturday?
Saturday.
So a lot going on
October
that day.
28th, registration 8 to 9. The run starts at 9. Gateway Park registration sponsored by the Women's Club. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, Phil, that's also we have a 5K run during the day. We've got trunk or treat. We've got movie night that night, right? So a lot going on for Delanco. So it's all on the website.
Yep, that's great. Thank you, Janice.
Thank you.
Favorite time of year.
Thank you, Bev. So, let's see, the next item is up for the consent agenda items. Anybody asking to have any of them removed for further discussion? Okay. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted with a single motion. Any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. Resolution 2023-107 is a resolution to extend the solid waste collection contract with Seaside Waste Collection, formerly South Jersey Sanitation, through the Historic Riverfront Neighborhood Solid Waste Collection Program. Resolution 2023-108, refund of construction permit overpayment. Resolution 2023-109, refunding unexpended escrow account. Resolution 2023-110, authorizing disposal of out-of-service office equipment. Payment of bills, current fund, $1,488,010.40. Payroll, $107,584.34. Municipal open space, $55,713. Escrow trusts, $3,500.50. Approval of the minutes for 9/11/2023. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda item?
So moved.
Carolyn, second.
Second.
Matt Bartlett. Roll call, please, Janice.
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Seuss?
Yes.
Mr. Templeton?
Yes.
Mrs. Patrick?
Yes. Approval of minutes, August 21st, 2023. Motion, please.
So moved.
Carolyn,
Second.
Bernadette, roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Seuss?
Yes.
Mr. Templeton? Mrs. Patrick?
I have to abstain, I missed that night.
Yeah. Okay.
Recuperating from surgery. Report on receipt of bids for the road program project. I think you already did that, right, Harry?
Yeah, Harry reported on that.
Yeah, okay, so we're okay with that. So Resolution 2023-111 is award of bid and contract for road improvement program contingent upon New Jersey DOT approvals. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
Carolyn, Mike, roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Seuss?
Yes.
Mr. Templeton?
Yes.
Mrs. Patrick?
Yes. Janice, correspondence.
The only correspondence, the last page in your packet is, and Harry also reported on this earlier, we received notification from the DEP that we're receiving the stormwater assistance grant, $15,000 up front and $10,000 when we submit and have an approved map. And that is it for correspondence.
Okay, thank you, Janice. Meeting is open to the public for comments and questions, session 2. Done.
Jack AK 44 Pennington Court. At the last meeting, Scott Taylor happened to be here, and we tried to find some information about the basins behind Newton's Landing along the creek, and 2 cinder paths that run either between homeowners' properties or from the outflow into the creek from all the storm sewers up to the circle, which is at the end of Newton's Landing Boulevard.
Right.
Kind of what's happened is suddenly we have 2 no trespassing property signs there. Don't know why, don't know whose private property it is.
Your HOA put those up.
Yeah, your
Well,
HOA.
actually, your HOA did put them up, and we did get a lengthy email from Matt Johnson as a result of Scott thinking that Scott wasn't involved with the tri-party agreement. He wasn't involved with Delanco at that time, but I have a meeting scheduled with Mary Pat, Matt Johnson, representatives from your homeowners association, and the 2 residents Friday here. And Harry should be there, and I want to invite John Fenimore too, to address all the issues, to find out, number 1, who actually owns the property, number 2, who's responsible for it, and number 3, can we do something to improve the path? And we'll find out whether or not those signs are
I
gonna
mean,
come down.
it's 20 years and all of a
And
sudden,
there have been 5 different answers, believe me.
Right.
Through the years, I've had 5 different answers. Matt had sent Mike an email over a year ago that the county didn't own it. Now the county is saying something different, so we're going to find out. We're going to get
Okay.
to the bottom of it. We have a meeting scheduled here on Friday.
all right, just additional. County has a path basically along the creek.
Right.
There is a cinder path that runs from the end of end of Newton's Landing Boulevard to the county path. Cinder path hasn't been maintained. Within the last few days, approximately 100 foot of that cinder path has gotten hash marks and paint on it. So it appears that somebody's planning on doing something with more of that.
That was marked out by Steve Lennon because the environmental board, we had a meeting with Steve Lennon and Matt Johnson a month ago on the placement of a bench that the environmental board won for collecting plastic, and that's going on adjacent to that path. We met there to discuss where that would be. I went out with Amber and we did a mark out, notified Steve Lennon. He came out subsequently and adjusted that. And so those orange marks are Steve Lennon's marks to try to establish where the path was per
Okay.
drawings. So,
And the white square is where the bench is.
well, I believe he made it an orange rectangle where he just tweaked that location.
Okay.
So,
We didn't walk that way today. So. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome, John. Anyone else? Okay.
Mayor.
Yeah. Can you make that meeting Friday, John, at 2?
Yeah.
Good, because I think that Harry's going to be there.
What are we gonna do about cutting the basin? Usually we do it in the winter time,
We usually do it in November, don't we?
after first frost.
after
Yeah.
the first frost, okay.
Yeah. And you,
So I'll
do we
start
have a
getting some bids
farmer?
for it.
Yeah, do you have somebody that does that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's after the first frost. Yeah, it's usually November.
thank you.
Okay. And anyone else? Okay, discussion items, status of township road program plan. Is that the email that I sent about the road program plan? I had sent an email to Harry and Richard and regarding, which was brought up at a meeting I had with the homeowners association at Newt's Landing. We have done a road program for Delanco. Old Delanco, let's say, and it was brought up to me about, because Newton's Landing is 20-some years old now, some of those roads, and I don't think the roads are quite that old, but they could be, because it took a while for us to accept those roads. But anyway, I wanted to look into setting up a plan to actually evaluate their roads so that we can do a road program for Newton's Landing now. Since we've been working our way through Delanco, and we've done pretty well with that road program that you and John came up with. So I think you guys need to put something on your calendar for that, Richard.
Well, I think Harry already did that.
Yeah,
For Newton's Landing?
Yes,
yeah,
they were
that's part of
included.
our whole,
Yeah, we didn't separate it out. It was every road in town, including Newton's Landing, River's Edge, everything.
Oh, okay.
It's all on that list.
and what we came up with, for the road program, we broke it down into 3 levels of roadways. Good, moderate, and poor condition. And we color coded them all, if you recall. We're really putting a dent into the worst roads in town, as long as we do that, so we're really catching up. One of them that's on our program is Chestnut Street. That's what we applied for DOT money for, which we will definitely get, and hopefully we'll get more money this year than we had in the past because of its location and whatnot. So that'll take care of that. Newton's Landing, all the roads there are medium except for Newton's Landing Drive. That is a poor condition road. And in fact, it's going to poor condition. It's not only the condition of the road, but it's the amount of traffic added into as well as the condition of the road. Actually, I believe Richard came up with this with a great idea. I agree with. that might be a good candidate for the DOT grant for the next grant coming out. Reason being, when we apply for these smaller roads, the traffic counts are so low that it drops us down on our
Right.
scale, and we get less money. So with that, Mrs. Landing would have a pretty high traffic count. When we put the counter out there, we'll tell everybody to store several times that day. So the higher the traffic count, the better, the more money you get, essentially, is how it works. So that might be a good road to put in for the DOT grant for the 2025.
2025, okay,
The
good.
rest of the roads, you're right, they're all medium, which is what a lot of other roads are in town as well.
Okay.
So it's one of those things that we do look at it and we sit down and try and figure out the best way to do it every year.
Good. Very good. Anybody have anything else?
I do. And this probably has to do with our website, our DelancoTownship.com website. About 2 weeks ago, after our last meeting, social media the way it is, I was perusing through and came across a YouTube Delanco meeting share. And our minutes or our recordings of our meetings were posted on this particular website. And I guess my question is, how do we go about getting that on our DelancoTownship.com website for recordings? And that, I guess.
Well, that was a private person that posted that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they have it, but shouldn't we? We're Delanco Township. We have our own website. How do we go about getting our recordings put on our website?
I guess you would have to ask Janice and see if they can be done, or Bev. See if-
Yeah, I'll speak with Dan, our IT guy, to find out what's the best way, since that is a private.
Mm-hmm.
We may not want to link.
Oh, no, I think we.
No.
We have our recording.
Yeah.
Why don't we get it on?
I think we have to make sure that our website host company can support
Yeah.
what we've contracted for. You can contract for all different levels of service, so we have to make sure that we can actually put a full recording of a meeting on there of what we have purchased with this host company will support putting this on. There's a lot of content we manage right here in the office, and then there's other content that we actually have to have the host company, reconfigure things and place it. So we'll look into that to see if it's as simple, we can upload it ourselves, or if it's a reconfiguration.
You can upload it to YouTube and then just share the link on our page.
That's exactly right.
That's what I'm saying. It's hopefully it's as simple, couple clicks and it's up on there, but we will look into that.
If I could just jump in on that for a second. Since we weren't posting those, I'm the one who actually started that. All it is a YouTube channel, and we don't have to do anything special for that. All we have to do is put it in a video file and upload it to YouTube, and we have a link from our website. It's very simple.
No, to our Delanco Township website.
Yeah, we could put a link to it right now.
That'd be great, so our residents.
So video or audio?
There's nothing you need to deal with.
Audio you're talking, the audio, not video. He said the word video.
Audio.
You don't have to.
I was gonna say,
Audio.
I don't want to make
Audio.
it.
Let's make sure it's just the audio, what's being taped for the meeting, audio only.
There's no
Okay.
cameras in here, then I'm okay.
There are,
Video, you'd have to get a camera.
we have to,
It's,
It would be nice, because a lot of the comments that are made at the meeting are not posted in the minutes. And it would be nice for the public to be able to hear what's actually being said, because I know the minutes are very thorough, but some of the comments aren't as posted, and I understand why, but, so if there's a negative comment made, usually it's not in the minutes, but you'll hear it on that YouTube audio.
Well, I found it helpful off of our last meeting and our discussions that we had, and just listening to it. Oh yeah, that because sometimes things are said and so quickly, that it doesn't always register. And, but going back and listening to it, so I found it to be helpful. And again, if we're able to get it on our DelancoTownship.com website for
We
all
just-
the residents to be
Yeah,
able
we just
to-
don't want to make sure there's any security risks through a link. There shouldn't be. And then also we will double check with Dan also to make sure that, there's no risk to through our server.
The security of the recording as well.
Right?
Well, that's not the final record of it. I mean, as far as seeing someone going in and,
No, but third parties uploading it.
well, what they upload to some other,
No, but if we're piggybacking on what somebody else has put in,
Well, somebody else has put in the recording of our meeting, so
Yeah,
I don't know what the...
no, we wouldn't use someone else's link.
No, we use
have our
ours.
own,
We would set up our own link.
we have our own recording.
We wouldn't
yeah.
use someone else's link. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
And then I will ask Steve, our solicitor, if there's any, I don't think there would be any, it's a public record, so,
Correct, that anyone, if they wanted it, could make a request for it.
sure.
So if it's, if it's council's determination that they want to just put it on the website, I don't see any issue with that. I'll certainly mention it to Doug too, so he can input, but
Yeah, I don't-
since it's a
yeah.
public record, I can't see what would
Yeah.
be the issue.
We just have to make sure that however we link it, isn't there's any
Sure.
security issues for the server and the rest of the township.
Link to a YouTube page, it shouldn't be any issue.
Well-
and what is actually recorded is a true copy of our recording.
That is way above what I know. That's something we will get with our IT, as far as the integrity of the recording, not being manipulated or substituted with any artificial intelligence stuff or anything like that. We have to worry about that AI now stuff.
Well,
So,
again, those
we will
are-
absolutely, and hopefully it's just a couple clicks and we're there. It's up on the website.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right,
Great.
the next thing I had was, in our discussion of cannabis, at our last meeting, the 250-foot, buffer, for manufacturing, and, I was like, how far away is 250 feet? And so I started looking, where I live, where's 250 feet? That would be my neighbor. And so then I took a township map, and I put myself on the corner of Edgewood and Burlington Avenue, and I drew lines of 250, 500, 750 feet, 1,000 feet. So if I'm a neighbor of a cannabis manufacturing warehouse, how close do I really want that to be? I've been here first as a resident of the town, or near this warehouse that's, they're going to propose that we can do cannabis manufacturing. And so...
Do you live in the industrial district?
I don't, but I put myself, there are houses around the industrial district, and if I lived there, how would I feel? And so anyways, I made copies of the map and that...
I don't understand because I thought there's certain districts that the cannabis could be, number one, it's in certain districts, so it's not in our residential.
If there's a residential house there, doesn't that make it residential?
Within those districts that the cannabis is allowed. If I'm not, and I could be mistaken, Carolyn, and
It's in the industrial
Industrial
district.
district.
There's like
Industrial
a
district.
very
There-
few residential houses even in that area. You're talking about
But if there,
Cooperstown Road.
there is a house or two,
And
or
they
even our
probably have a
neighbors in
warehouse next to
Edgewater
them
Park.
already. I mean, they're talking, you have truck traffic, car traffic. I mean, these warehouses have been there living next to these.
Well, okay, well, again,
I
it was
understand
a
what
thought
you're
that went through my head. And,
yes,
you know,
it's very
I
good.
just would like you to, take that into consideration, with that piece. And then as we go into the discussions, further discussions of drawing the ordinances or the plans for cannabis, we had the manufacturing, we had the distribution, and the wholesale. And I believe it's the wholesale where they can bring in cannabis plants and whatever other things, and I don't know enough about it, but, should they also have a buffer zone around those warehouses? Again, just a question, and as we get further into the ordinance or whatever, to keep in mind and to ask that. And then there was one other thing that I came across that, again, I don't understand, still doing homework, had to do with micro businesses. Is that separate from the warehousing? Is that another type of business with cannabis, this micro business that they talk about in the New Jersey ordinance?
It's like 2 in 1, right? It's like you would have wholesaling and manufacturing in one building.
No,
Is that what that is?
I believe what Fern's talking about,
I think the micro businesses are smaller. The state wants to approve certain licenses that, yes, are mom and pop type. They're not your big corporate entities. My understanding is the micro businesses are smaller entities. It would be one shop. It wouldn't be a conglomerate, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think some of your questions would be valid to shoot them out to Scott Taylor and CC our committee, our subcommittee, because Scott, I thought he did an excellent presentation, but if you're coming up with more and more questions, I would certainly shoot them out to Scott and ask him for some answers.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
There actually is on the Cannabis Regulatory Commission's website a definition for a micro business, a cannabis micro business, if anyone's interested.
Well, I am, because I'm learning,
Okay, yeah, but they
There's so
actually,
much about this,
Yeah,
in one town, where they have parks, they have a buffer zone, between parks and the warehouses. So again, many questions, and, just needed to share them.
Good, good. Thank you, Fern. Do you have anything else? Because I have a couple of things.
Nope,
Okay.
thanks.
I had a meeting with the county out at Coopertown and Creek Road, the lighting issue there. I did ask the police to check it out, and there's one light that is on Dolan's side, that all these new lights that public service has, they've changed all the lighting, and of course it's down, and it's to have the, the black sky and all that, or the dark sky, but there are 2 poles on both sides, on the Creek Road side of Coopertown. And I think lights need to be put on those poles because it is dark out there. The entrance to Newton's Landing doesn't even have any lighting. They have one ornamental light right as you enter Newton's Landing Boulevard, right adjacent to their lighthouse. There's an ornamental light that has 2 bulbs. And so, I went out at night and did it, and then I met with the county to see, because the one stop sign coming out of Creek Road, turning left onto Coopertown, is so far out of the way that you don't even see the stop sign when you're there. So they're going to move that, and I sent them what I thought about lighting. But what I need to know, John, is what do we need to do? Do we need to notify public service to find out what it would cost us to put lighting up there? Because
you have to get them, you have to call them and tell them what location you need to do.
And they'll give us an estimate or something?
And then they would come out, and I guess they would,
It's a published tariff. The chief does that.
Yeah.
I asked the chief to have the area, and the police officer who did it thought there was sufficient lighting, but I'm telling you,
I understand.
it's not sufficient lighting.
No, the one corner, the opposite corner isn't.
It's terrible.
Because when you come down, it's dark. You ought to try snow plowing and going into Newton's Landing without the light there.
You can't see, there's no lights there,
it's
so
bad.
I don't
It is
know.
bad.
The county
Now,
suggested.
the problem with there, you gotta have to be careful, because we got a sewer line coming out there.
Right. But they were suggesting these beacon lights on the stop sign coming out of Newton's Landing. But those beacon lights would only be facing in. They're not going to give anybody coming into Newton's Landing. And the problem is people are coming in at the exit to Newton's Landing. And I can understand why, because it's dark, you can't see the arrows, you can barely see the arrows, they're fading. So I don't know what the count, but I mean, I did meet with them, but I think we should look into those 2 poles. And so would that be something you would do?
Yeah, well, generally the chief does it, but I'll
Okay.
check it out and then
All right, because
recommend
he's been sick, okay.
that.
Yeah, because I think it would help the area there, and then I'm still trying to come up with something for Newton's Landing. They need some lighting.
Yeah,
there.
well, also, the county,
They own all that.
they have to straighten that, because when you're coming to make a left, now you can go straight or make a left.
Yes,
And there's only a turn,
yeah.
so they're gonna have to redo that.
Well, they're going to do another traffic study. They're going to pull their traffic study from when Dolan made their application, because they had to go before the county planning board too. And I said, I understand that. Usually when you have a developer come in, their traffic study is to benefit them anyway. So the county is going to do another study after these warehouses start having more traffic. Because I don't want them, I want a legitimate study done by the county to see, do we need a traffic light there? Because if we do, we have to budget half of that cost. And I don't know if it's something we want, but we need to look into it. So I did meet with them, and I'm just hoping that we get some results. And that's all I have. Does anybody else have anything else?
One thing, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Just keep that in mind, thinking of family and friends and whatnot. Some of you guys know my mom was diagnosed with it earlier this year. She went through chemo and just finished radiation last week and rang the bell. Thank God everything is
That's great.
clear, but early detection is what, how you beat it. That's how you beat it. It was just a routine screening, had no signs or symptoms otherwise. Just routine mammogram, and it showed up, and went through the surgery and all the other stuff with it. So keep that in mind this one.
Thank you, Matt. That's good. And Megan, you had a question at our last meeting regarding the lights at the Field of Dreams. We did get an estimate from Harry from this one company that does most of the lighting at different fields. I just got it today. It's around $230,000. So we're within that scope, so that's a good thing. You're welcome. Okay, if no one has anything else, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you for having me.